Welcome to Free for the Fruit, where we talk about what it is that we need to do to prepare our minds, prepare our hearts to be free to receive the fruits of the Holy Spirit that He's trying to share with us. If you've ever thought, man, I know that I'm a Christian, but it seems like other people have more joy, more kindness, more self-control, more of this good stuff of the Holy Spirit than me, then you are not alone. This podcast is for you to help you figure out how to become free for the fruit. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Free for the Fruit. Today we are talking about our new message for the month of October, which comes from our monthly truth band. This month the band says, you can trust God with your people, just like He's got you, He's got them, be at peace. And that's the message on the adult one, which if you're watching on YouTube, you can see what it looks like here. If you're listening to the podcast, you're going to have to go to our shop at pinksaltriot.com and look at the new truth band for the month. And then we have the kids version too, which is a coordinating design. They're not identical, but they go together if you want to do like a parent-child thing. And the kids version is just changed a little bit to be a little more appropriate for kids. It says, God is taking care of everyone you love, and He's always with them. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about why I felt like that was a message that people needed and where the lies are that people can struggle with around trusting God with other people. Because I'll never forget this time I was in Bible study and everyone was talking about trust and trusting God more and letting go of anxiety and worry and things like that. And one of the women was like, well, of course you're always going to worry about your kids. Are you even a good mom if you don't? And I'll never forget that because and there was nods of assent around the room. Everybody was like, yeah, no, that's what makes you a good mom, is like being worried about them. And I was like, oh, that doesn't quite feel like it resonates with the truth, because yes, we need to be proactive and do what we can to care for our kids, give them the skills that they need and things like that. But it's not a virtue to worry. And this reminds me a lot of what happened during COVID, where it was like fear was a virtue. If you were afraid enough, then that was like a virtuous thing. And it's so similar with the worry issue with parents. And so I think the right response in both cases is not how can I be like worry the most or fear the most. It's how can I control what I can control and take care of what I need to personally take care of, but then give the rest to God. So with our kids, we want to teach them good habits. We want to monitor what they take in. We want to monitor their friendships, make sure they're going to good schools, getting a good education, because those things are our actual responsibility. That's actually our job as their parents. But it only goes as far as it goes. It's not something that allows us to control every aspect of their life. And those things that we're really tempted to worry about are the things that we're invited to give up to God. Just like during COVID, we needed to like take what precautions made sense for where we were at in life and health, and then give the rest to God. There's not a virtue to be found in really doubting God's provision. And so I designed these in a large part after going on a retreat with military families, military wives especially. And I definitely was naive and not fully aware of, because it has not been my life experience, just the volume and the nature of sacrifice that these women and these families make. And of course, the men as well that are leaving their families, and women that serve leaving their families. It's just a whole lot of sacrifice all around. And one of the things that will always stick with me is these women talking about the learned anxiety of their children, the way that these kids just learn to worry so young and so strongly for their parent in active duty. And I was thinking about that and I was like, yeah, that's not really a message that kids get very often, is about giving God the things that we can't control. And so both of these bracelets for adults and kids came out of that. Like, what would be the right thing to say when we're in that situation, when we're filled with fear, when we're filled with worry? What is it that, even if we're not feeling it, would be the right response to that situation and how we're feeling? And it really seemed like it was just that reminder that we can only control so many things, and whether or not we submit to it and whether or not we're aware of it, the people that we love are always in God's hands. And does that mean that God does exactly what we want him to do in every situation? No. Do we understand why the things that happen? No. But it's also not on our paper. It's something that we can't control. And so the only thing that happens if we're consumed with worry and fear and frustration and things like that is that our peace is lost, because it doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't actually change anything, doesn't actually help anything. We just lose access to the fruit of the Spirit of peace. And that's what we're all about here at Free for the Fruit, is how can we create more openness to actually receive the fruits of the Spirit that the Holy Spirit has for us? A big part of that is letting go of these things that just sabotage those fruit and don't bring about any other good fruit. There's no benefit to it. And so these are this month's Truth Band together. If you order our subscription, you'll get this for kids and this for women. And it's just an easy thing to keep, give away. You get 2 with a subscription. So that's the idea, is that it's 1 to keep, 1 to give away. But if you have a couple people in your life who need this message, it's an easy thing to give more than 1 away. And you get basically 2 for the price of 1 when you join the subscription. So when we look at what it is we should do with this truth in our life, there's a couple things that really come up. One of the biggest ones is to just recognize when we're worrying about stuff we can't control, stuff that's not on our paper, especially when it comes to other people. One of the most impactful quotes I've ever heard about parenting, this is not mine, this is not original, and I cannot trace it back to exactly where I heard it first because I've heard it a couple of places, is the idea that you cannot save your children from their testimony. I think that's a hard thing to face, that our kids are going to make big and painful mistakes that we might have seen coming, but also they're walking their own journey with the Lord. And I'm pretty sure all of us, if we look back on our own journey, there were definitely people who tried to tell me, who tried to help me, and I just wasn't in a place where I could receive that. And I had to walk that out in my relationship with the Lord. And hopefully that has brought you to a place where now, despite the pain and the suffering that it took you through, there's an actual growth and kind of joy that comes from seeing the faithfulness of God, even in those really hard situations. And we never know what is going on in somebody else's story. And that is a hard part of being human. Even people that we're close to, even maybe your spouse or your child or someone that you just really love, you can't know comprehensively what's going on inside them and what the Lord is doing in them. And that's why we have to entrust other people to the Lord. So that's what we're going to be talking about all month long this month. How do we practically do a better job of entrusting others to God and to knowing that He is the one that is ultimately going to change them if change needs to happen, to protect them if protection is what needs to happen, to be the one to stand in the gap for them. And we can only control what we can control. So I hope you tune in the rest of October. We're going to have 2 more episodes about this topic, and then we're going to end the month, round out the month with a fun special on the idea of memento mori, which we are doing for this month of October. We've got some incredible limited edition memento mori stuff that's already available in the shop. So if you can't wait, if you want to go check that out, please do check out pinksaltriot.com for both our truth bands for the month and our new memento mori stuff for October. God bless you, and I hope that you are living free for the fruit.